she is really lucky that it, like, I think they were really gentle on her.
Like big gentle, especially after suspending the one woman or whatever. But whatever. We're not talking about basketball. We talk about that another time. You know, we're hoping the Milwaukee Bucks, you know, come through with the ring. Giannis, you know what I'm saying? It's his time. But this is Office Hours, episode 30. We're talking about creating content today. Yo, you're gonna hear rain, storms, rumblings in the background. I mean, we saw the ocean on fire the other day. I think a monsoon's about to wipe out Cincinnati. So, yo, pray for me. So here we go. But if we have technical difficulties and there's a blackout or whatever, that just means my internet went out. So bear with us. But Suns in 6. Serial Sensei, are you nuts?
First of all, y'all, it's going to be Atlanta. So all the Suns talk, you could just put it to rest.
Atlanta's got to go. We don't have time for that. We don't have time. Trae Young, garbage. Get him out of here. Wannabe Steph Curry.
How can you say Trae Young is garbage?
Wannabe Steph Curry. That's all. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Except with a little bit of James Harden and how petty he is when it comes to fouls and stuff. Says
the guy who likes Chris Paul.
I like Chris Paul.
Like the king.
I just like the story. I like the story. Anyway, let's get focused. We have an important episode today. I'm going off the rails. I apologize. We are here specifically to talk about creating content. We appreciate you all for coming through. Leave a like. Make sure you leave an algorithmic comment. What type of content are you into? What do you like seeing on your timeline? Maybe throw that out in the comment section, or anything that you want us to cover in the future. Nora, how you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, welcome to Office Hours. I'm Nora. This is Sto. We do this every first and third Tuesday of the month, really to make practical, accessible information accessible to independent artists, whether you're a musician or other kind of creative entrepreneur. And today, you know, this is one of the things that I come across all the time is people are like, I don't know what to post. Right. I don't know. And I get it, because it can be really exhausting. And even for myself, like, I hate the pressure of having to come up with things all the time. And so we're really dedicating, and actually this was one of the episodes that people had asked us for to do information around. So we're going to talk about just different, is that the storm stuff?
Yes, that is the storm. I apologize, everyone, honestly.
I apologize. That sounds wild. That sounds wild. I feel like the earth is like right over. Anyways.
Right. No, it feels right, like it's right on top of me. It feels like the storm's right on top of me. Keep going. Sorry.
But anyway, so creative content ideas. And where I thought we would start is like, why is creative? Like, I know everyone says content is king, blah, 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 blah. But like, why really is content so important? And for us as like creatives, what's the sorry, I have to share this comment. It sounds like Jumanji outside. Yeah, like I'm ready for the rhinos to start running.
That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting to just run through my apartment and just trample me because it's going down.
Let's hope that doesn't. Okay, so we're not talking about basketball. We're not talking about Jumanji. We're talking about creative.
Absolutely.
Why? Yeah, why? Like,
right.
What's the purpose of content, and why is it so important?
Right. So, you know, when it comes to content, especially this year, for some reason, there's been this like uptick in people just using that word. And I think it is a buzzword now. And maybe it was before, but it feels to be more so the case now. So much so that I saw some tweet. I've been seeing tweets like the last like month or so of just people saying like, you don't need content, like music is not content, and like and just kind of like, I don't know, trying to redefine the word, it seems, but incorrectly almost. First off, music is content, but there are different types of content. Content is, and let me stay focused here. Content is important because it allows you to show different sides of yourself, for one, but it also gives you something outside of your product to draw people in. We see this with businesses all the time, where it's not just buy this product. It's there's all these other things around the product to draw us in, to I guess attract us to the product or whatever. And so it's the same with music. You have an album, you put out music videos or singles or whatever to get people to look and be like, okay, there's something bigger coming. Obviously, we're going to talk about bigger things, but it at the most basic level, it's to get people to see what you're promoting, or see, and not even always in a product level, but even just, promoting yourself, what you're into and stuff like that. Content, genuinely, it's all encompassing, but at the same time, it should be targeted, or at least made to focus on whatever it is you're selling.
Yeah, I mean, look, content is how people get to know you. And so when you make, and there's levels of content and there's levels of asks. So when you, yes, music is content, your video is content, your click on my link is content. But really what those are big asks. You're asking for my time, you're asking for my energy, you're asking for my stopping what I'm doing to pay attention to you. And so content that's not ask driven, right? That's all the stuff that we think of as like behind the scenes or promotional or informational or educational. That content helps your audience get to know you. That's how we get to build a relationship. So in real life, the way that happens is you keep running into the same person over and over and over. And, you say, what's up? You give a head nod, you say hello, you make a comment in passing. And over time, you build a relationship where y'all are having a conversation and getting to know each other. In the virtual space, that happens through content. I see your posts, I learn about you, I comment, I slide in the DMs, we start to build a relationship that way. And so when you're consistent with your content, what that does is, one, it makes you stand out, because a lot of people aren't consistent. So over time, I think part of the struggle is that people think about content in like one-offs. Yeah. One piece of content. So now but it's really the series of things that I see from you over time, over the course of months or sometimes years, that lets me get to know you, that helps me build like good feelings towards you, that lets me connect with you, so that when you do make an ask of me, you ask me to sign up for your newsletter or check out your website or buy your merch or sign up for your class or whatever it might be, now we have a relationship. So content is the way in which you tell me, the reason it's important is that that's how you're telling me who you are, what matters to you, and then gives me an access point to connect with you, right? That's really, really the thing that's going to help build that bond. And it can show up in so many different ways. But I really want folks to think beyond just like, well, I promoted my flyer.
Nailed it.
Oh, great. Wonderful. You should promote your flyers.
Exactly.
But that doesn't build any kind of trust or rapport. And that's really what the best content does, is it adds that to me as a consumer. It's going to add value to my life. It's going to make my day better for seeing that. And not because, oh, your song is so great, but because I feel like we connected, or I learned something, or I saw myself represented, or I felt validated, or something like that. And we'll talk about some of those specific content types, but that's why content is important. It's not because you're going to hack the algorithm. You're not. Exactly. You're not going to hack the algorithm. Like, there's no magic. If I post 3.7 times at exactly this time, I'll get more likes. It doesn't work that way, right? But it is how, over time, you will build steady, organic, authentic relationships with your audience.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And on top of that, I'll say this, like, like Nora said, like there's no secret, like even with both of us having over 9,000 followers or whatever, like we weren't like, all right, yo, I got the secret code, I'm gonna post this and this is how I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna be verified in no time. Actually, neither of us are verified. I don't think. They need to fix that immediately. But the content is, again, it's meant to reach the people, again, that you want to reach. I guess my whole thing is, when you're thinking content, it's not simply about, okay, I want to show them this project, or I want them to buy into this a product or whatever, again, it's giving you a chance to show who you are outside of that. Because here's the thing. I like using myself. Actually, let's tag this comment real quick. This is a perfect example. Lure them in with the content, and then you drop the project on their head, and they'll probably be more receptive to it. And that's what I'm trying to do with the book. First off, a book. That's what I like to hear. Someone else in here needs to write a book as well. A couple people here watching this show right now need to get to writing these books. Let's get to writing. But exactly, lure them in with the content, and then you can drop the project on their heads. It's the same with a lot of stuff, even with what we do in consulting and music marketing and stuff like that. We're always creating content. I mean, you're watching content right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ideally, in an ideal world, you know, there are hundreds of people watching, and they see this and they're like, oh my God, like, they're so cool. You know, Sto, he's a 12 out of 10. Nora, also 12 out of 10. They know what they're talking about. They got these cool tips and stuff like that. And then they work with us, right? It's the same with music. You know, you drop a single, or you drop a music video, or even go beyond that and show how that music video was created. And then people, again, are led to that, to whatever it is that you're actually trying to get them to view. So
let's talk about that. I think this is where we can go a little deep, is that there's like really different types of content, right? So maybe we can talk a little bit about like the different types of content and the role that they play, because you don't have to be everything all the time, all at once.
Exactly.
And heads up for those of you who've been with us for a while, there is an episode on Instagram and Twitter where we get into like how you can schedule your content and planning ahead and things like that. So go back and check out those episodes, because we might not go into it today. So I know this can seem overwhelming, but we do talk in other episodes about like plan ahead, create a schedule, calendar, all that kind of stuff. So there are definitely like what I call promotional posts, right? That's the stuff. That's anytime you make an ask of your audience. That's things like click on this, subscribe to this, share this, buy this, watch this, right? Those promo posts really should be like a tiny percentage of your content. You do want to make calls to action. Right? Like you do want to funnel your audience or direct them to where you want them to go. But you can only do that after you've built the trust and built the rapport and earned the right to make that ask. So what are other types of content, right? That's things like all the behind the scenes stuff. Behind the scenes, what that does is it builds investment from your audience so that they see the struggle, so that they see the process, so that they are invested in this outcome that you're creating and that they feel like they're also part of it. A lot of times people do really highly curated behind the scenes, which is fine. And also, I would encourage you to think about what does it look like to show some of the struggle, right? Show the parts where you're struggling, show the parts that maybe didn't go as perfect as you want it to go. Because when you do that, your audience, they go on the journey of, you know, the highs and lows, right? Imagine when you watch a TV show, you want some tension. If everything is smooth sailing, smooth sailing. Sometimes my brain moves faster than my mouth, y'all. If there's no tension, right? There's no drama. There's no investment in the outcome. And so thinking about, we see this in like media, movies, film all the time. So think about how you can use that as you share the behind the scenes. The other type of content is just like personality things. Right. Who are you? And actually, I've shared this before. So I use you as an example for this all the time, because as much as you drop your gems, you plug your projects, you also talk about basketball and video games and things like that have nothing to do with anything. But for someone who might not be familiar, that's the way they can connect with Sto, right? Oh shit, Sonic the Hedgehog, me too. Hennessy, me too. You know, like whatever it might be, it becomes a connection point. So allowing those bits and pieces of your personality to show up and be like, yo, this is who I am and this is what I like. So what did I say? There's promotion, there's behind the scenes, there's personality. I encourage artists to also talk about like value stuff. Like, what do you care about in the world? What are you like, put that out there. That's another attention point. And now we have at least 4 or 5 different types of content that you can put into this rotation, where you're not just talking about one thing, but but really mixing it up. Let me share this with Serial Sensei, who says, some of my favorite content on YouTube was watching beat makers put out videos of them making beats and telling stories of them trying to make it in the industry. It makes you want to root for them. Y'all, the storytelling, like content, this is, thank you so much, Serial Sensei, for bringing this up. And then I'll stop. I know I've been talking a lot. But content is really just another way of telling stories. And our brains connect to stories. We understand the world through stories. So if you can use, and not just the image, but the caption that you have, right? You have a whole, if you're sending newsletter, you have a whole email where you can take some time to tell a story, add context. And what that does is when your audience receives the thing, whatever the product is, they now have a context through which to receive it, rather than this is just another song in like a million songs that I'm receiving or hearing today. So there's definitely more, but I'll stop there because I know, Sto, you have a lot on this too.
Yeah, it's, again, like Nora really tackled it. It's really just about showing who you are. It doesn't always have to be click this, share this. And especially starting off, because I feel like I watch artists do this all the time where they're just promote, and then wonder why no one's checking them out and think that that's, you know, the content that's supposed to be out there. You know, it takes a while to build that trust. We talk about that all the time, building trust with your audience first. Even with, you know, some of you in the future that are going to be watching this, it's going to be, you've seen us in other places and seen that we've given other advice or, you know, helpful game or whatever. And so you want more of that. And then, you know, ideally that draws, you know, you to work with us or whatever. But again, it's the same with whatever content, or I'm sorry, whatever music that you're releasing. There's so many, even if you can turn a music video into, you can break that up into tons of content. The trailer for the music video, the announcement date for the video, scouting locations, where all did you go to try to see where to film, outtakes. People love outtakes. I love just watching people that are supposed to be like, yeah, man, yo, man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I love watching them mess up in the studio. It's hilarious. You know, I've even seen artists like when they go out to dinner after doing something, whether it's recording or a performance or whatever, and just record the natural conversations that happen. Like, bring people in. I get it. We all want to see our music video land 1 million views and stuff like that. But I promise you'll see kind of bigger / like, I guess, better results if you take the time to create content around that. If you just push the same link for 3 months and do absolutely nothing else, like it's going to get lost in the shuffle. Again, and especially I like talking about this too, because we have phones that record in 4K, literally. It doesn't have to be pitch perfect or whatever. Like, you know, use the tools that you have and resources that you have to show people what's going on. And again, separating it from the music, like, show what you're into. What movies are you watching? What other music are you listening to outside your own? You know, what are your takes on sports? You know, all that. What do you actually stand for? Like, there's so much content and stuff that can go out there. Content, I guess, is like an umbrella term for some stuff, but you can really make it specific. You can really, you know, get in front of your audience and attract the people that you want to check you out. You know, if all I did was just type, get a website, get a website, get a website, get a website, so many of you would have been unfollowed, because that's annoying. No one wants to just be promoted to all day. So yeah.
You said a couple things that I want to make sure people catch in terms of like ideas. It doesn't have to be a whole 3-minute long music video.
Right.
If you can really thinking about how you can break down one big piece of content into smaller bits and pieces, and how you can repurpose old content and make it new again. Shout out to India Prather, who just joined us. So thinking about things like, when you're in the studio, set up your camera somewhere and just record.
Right.
And showing people a bit of that. That's interesting to folks. One of my favorite things that this artist I know does is she'll make like funny memes to her own songs.
Right.
So you hear the song over and over and over again, but each time it's in a new way because she's being funny, she's being humorous, she's being playful, and she's memifying herself. And so she's not even saying, y'all go listen to my music. The song is just there as she's adding a different way for her audience to experience it. So thinking about, I think a lot of times when we think about promotion or we think about the song, we think about using the song in the most like direct way. But you could be cooking a meal and have your song on in the background.
Exactly.
Right? You can be having a conversation with someone and the song isn't even there, but you and your friend are talking about your collaborative process or your writing process, and that's content.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to think about is how can you, a lot of folks are very kind of didactic about their content. So it's like me feeding you and either you just take it or you leave. Think about how you can invite your audience into the conversation.
Right, absolutely.
Are you asking them questions? Are you getting their feedback? Are you asking them to share content? Like if you have an active enough fan base, they can create content for you, right? So things like show me your best dance move, or my favorite example is I worked with an artist who asked their fans to play the song for their moms. Show me your mom's reaction when she listens to this song. And so now you have,
I think I have seen that actually.
So now you have your audience participating and creating this buzz, and they're doing the promotion work for you. So you can really, really get creative. Here's another one. Serial Sensei says, a novelist from Clear Soul Forces is out here making fight choreography videos. And that's the other thing is if you're into something unique, right? We've talked about this in our niche episode. The more you know your audience, the more you can create content that they want to see. Right? If your audience likes fashion, maybe you do a little fashion show and your song is in the background, or you do like a lookbook for your album rather than like a traditional music video. If they're into anime, maybe you do like some kind of anime mashup with your song or your, you can get really creative. And so which you've heard us talk about this before, allow yourself to experiment and play around with your content.
Right.
Like I see a lot of folks get stuck on what their Instagram feed looks like, or how many tweets did I get today? And does this look curated? And I think that's really restrictive. Like it really holds you back from finding what the right content for you is. And so allow yourself to play and make mistakes and like try out different things until you find what feels good. Which means like being imperfect and awkward and weird sometimes, but that's okay. That's actually, honestly, that's part of how your audience is going to connect with you, is they're going to see the awkward and they're going to see the vulnerability. And that's much more, you've heard me say this before, it's much more relatable than if you were perfect. That like imperfect, awkward, is that the storm still?
I think the sounds are going off in the background, but I'm not really sure. Whatever.
But so just to say, like, allow yourself to experiment with different kinds of content, because that's the thing that's going to allow people to relate. And you've heard us talk about some of these other things, like make a lyric video, quote yourself, like put your face, write some of your song lyrics. That's a post. The stories, having people tell stories about you, or, there's all these different ideas. There's no right or wrong answer. It's you getting comfortable with playing around.
And getting comfortable with yourself. Like it's not easy. And I use this example all the time. Like Nora's using me as an example for posting like video games and basketball. I used to not do that because I was really afraid. Like, they just really want the playlist. I don't know. But so they don't want to hear about me, getting emotional over video games and stuff like that. But the more you start to lean into literally just being yourself, that's what we talk about when it comes to brand and stuff like that. We're not trying to attribute a brand to you. We're telling you to lean into who you already are. And once you do that, you start to realize people start coming out of the woodwork, even if they don't say anything off rip. Like I remember a lot of people used to not say anything to me when I would talk about video games and stuff like that. But they're seeing your tweets, they're seeing what you're posting, and you know, there's always, and we've all had, I think, had this happen where you see someone post and it's like, oh dang, I didn't even know they were into that. Let me check out what else they're into. And so it's just building off of that. That's where I feel like content creation really is like at like its prime. It doesn't have to be you know, catered necessarily to the latest trend or whatever. Just lean into who you are and put that more into what you're doing. Like Nora said, like if you're into anime, put that in some of your promo stuff. If you're, or even just talk about that. Like, it doesn't have to always lead necessarily directly back to the music. Ideally, if you're doing everything correctly and you have your links posted correctly and your pinned tweet is informative, when you post that video about, you know, who could win, Goku or Naruto, like it's now this, it's no longer like, you know, necessarily like, oh God, he's talking about the music again. It's, oh, wait a minute, I'm into that, so I want to talk about that. And then they start clicking around. When people are interested in you and they trust you, they're going to start clicking around. If they come to your page and all they see is run this up, tweet this out, how come they sleeping on me? I don't get what's going on. What are the next festivals and all that stuff? They're going to be like, what? They don't care about the supporters or the fans. They only care about the numbers. But if they see you posting content about just, again, other things that you're into, and we didn't really lean too hard into this for this episode, but like, again, what you stand for, whether it's, you know, making sure the ocean isn't catching fire, or you know, all the police brutality stuff that's going on, you know, whatever it is, wherever your morals stand and stuff like that, that can be part of your content too, because that's what gets people to trust you. So, you know, I just, with this episode, I guess my thought is hopefully that you take away that content is much more than just focusing on the music. It's about who you are and what that music stands for, right? Because a lot of the messages and stuff that you're talking about in the music should be exuded in your content. So a lot of you are talking about random stuff like your pets or, again, basketball, sports, politics, whatever. It should be in your content as well.
You know what it is? It's how you become human, right?
Yeah, right.
People connect to humans. People want to support humans. And so what you said, right, about building trust, that's what the best content does. Right. And we can tell, right, psychologically, when something is being sold to us, we know and we shut it off.
Right.
Versus when we feel like something is true and genuine, we're much more subconsciously open to receiving it. And so over time, if I keep seeing genuine, authentic content on my timeline, I'm like, oh, this person is funny, or oh, this person is talking about some shit from the heart, right? It doesn't even have to be like deep or meaningful.
Exactly.
As long as it's from the heart. Or, hey, they're trying to share something with me and maybe the production quality is bad, but they're trying to put themselves out there. I'm going to connect with that. And over time, then I know you, I like you, I trust you. So that when you ask something, not because I'm necessarily a fan of the music, that comes after. It's because I'm like, this is a good person. This is someone who's been consistent. This is someone who I feel good about. Let me see what they're asking me to do. I know we're coming up on the 30 minutes and I feel like there's a lot of really good stuff here, but Sto, do you have any favorite kind of like creative content stuff that you've seen that you think people should think about or pay attention to?
Yeah, so far, honestly, I just like using this example just because I really like the album, but Tyler, the Creator, is killing it on a content level with his new record that just dropped. Now, we can talk about how, like, I feel like a lot of cats now are like, oh, he's mainstream, everything he does, it's blah, blah, blah. But if anybody was around from the beginning, he was always providing lots of content outside of, listen to the music. So as of late, he's been doing a lot of remixes of some of this stuff that he's put out. He's been showing how he's made the beats. I can't remember exactly what I saw yesterday, but it was literally him in the lab, like with all these screens, just like chopping up samples and all that jazz. So, again, just give people a peek behind the scenes. I know we're supposed to be artists and everything we do is perfect and all that stuff, but nah, it's okay to show that human element and show, your creation process. The songs that we're hearing on your project, they didn't start off that way. how did we get to this final product that we're listening to? I think that's really like the biggest thing, at least from a music standpoint, that I love seeing, is just how it was made. Not enough artists are doing that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of artists hold back on that because they're like, it's not ready, it's not perfect, I don't want someone to steal my idea. First of all, no one's going to do what you do the way you do it. So that fear of your music being stolen, not that it's not real, but maybe that's not the most important thing if this is where you're at in your career. And if it's not perfect, that's okay, because you can share with your audience, right? Make that part of the story of, hey, you all heard this, but I've tweaked it. Tell me if you like the changes.
Right, exactly.
So you can include them and involve them in the process. I really like the way that a lot of artists are using like humor to tell their stories. Like creating memes for themselves and inviting their audiences to do that. I love dance. You know, I dance, so I like love dance videos and creating. And it could be silly. You don't have to be like a TikTok creator.
Yeah.
Here's some moves. And you know, if you're into cooking, maybe you're like, here's some kitchen moves. Like you could be dorky, you could be corny. Like all that shit is okay, because chances are that's what your audience is going to relate to. I also really like when people create playlists to go along with a project. And that's a really great way to then bring on other people who can support and amplify your work. So you're using your platform to help others. They'll use their platform to help you. There's a ton of really creative things that people are doing. And what I hope you take away is you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. I think that actually restricts and limits like our creativity. And so come up with an idea and play with it. The idea itself might not be where you land, but it's the stepping stone to the next thing. It's the thing that sparks the next idea. So, and then finally, I'll say you can also source a lot of content from your fans. If they're in your DMs, that's content. If they're responding to you, that's like share that. And with their permission. I always tell people, like, don't share anything without anyone's permission.
Right.
But when you show people that kind of stuff, then it creates encouragement for people to continue to talk to you, because they know that you're going to appreciate them, love on them, support them. So if you take, what I would say is takeaways for today is think outside the box, share the whole process, even the internal stuff. Let your fans see your personality, the things that have nothing to do with music, let them see that. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like, don't be afraid for it to be imperfect, because that's part of what's going to make you relatable, connectable, human. And as you said, Sto, like, build the trust, build the rapport.
Absolutely. Yo, we're coming up on we're past the half hour, I guess. These episodes always go by fast, but we appreciate you all for coming through. This is episode 30 of Office Hours. We're almost at 300 subscribers, which is incredible. We really appreciate all of you for coming through, supporting us. I'm not, again, I bring this up every time, but when we started this, I did not think that we would even reach 100 subscribers this quickly, let alone almost 300. So we really appreciate that. Please make sure to share this, whether on your timelines, your social media, Instagram, wherever, just to help us get in front of more independent artists, creatives, and honestly, just people that are out grinding, period. Because honestly, a lot of our stuff is not just for artists. So, you know, we really appreciate that share. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. What kind of content are you working on? What kind of content do you like to see from other artists? Also, you know, or maybe, you know, what do you want to see from us next? We're headed into the next 30 episodes. So we love to have your ideas and to hear what help you need from us. So, yeah. Any last words, Nora?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you have any questions, make sure you drop those in the comments, because we'll come back and answer those after the fact. And y'all do something good for, you know, the ocean is on fire. Sto sounds like the sky is falling over there. I see in the chat, like, just the grind is exhausting. And so we appreciate the time that you all give to us. And as always, like, really want to remind you to take some time for yourself. This is not grind culture. You don't have to work so hard that you exhaust yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something kind for one another. Thank you for supporting us. We'll see you next time. Thanks, y'all.
Oh my God.